Converting radian and degree measures. We've been talking about our unit circle, and we have discussed in a previous video all of the many special angles of rotation that we can use in our unit circle, but we've done so in degree measures. We also did a little video on what a radian measure is. So now I want to talk about going back and forth or converting between radians and degrees. You've probably already done something similar to this in your math career using something called dimensional analysis. Even if you haven't named it as such, that's what you were doing. For example, if you take 24 inches and convert that to 2 feet, or 3 pounds into 48 ounces. So let's do a quick recap. If I start on the positive x-axis of my unit circle and we rotate all the way around, that's 360 degrees. We also talked about that being equivalent to 2 pi radians. All right, now that was one full revolution. Now, if we rotate only halfway around our unit circle, it stands to reason that this would be 180 degrees, or pi radians. So what we're going to use are these two values right here that are essentially equivalent to each other. It's like saying 12 inches equals 1 foot, right? So we're going to use those two values to create a ratio, all right? I can say that 180 degrees over pi radians is basically the number 1, okay? And if this is equivalent to 1, if this reduces down to the number 1, then it's also okay to say that pi radians divided by 180 degrees is also equal to 1. All right, so let's take a value, any degree measure, and we'll go ahead and use one that we find a special angle measure on our unit circle. Let's do 60 degrees right here, okay? So we have our 60-degree angle measure on our unit circle, and I want to convert that into radians. So I can take 60 degrees, and I can multiply that by pi over 180 degrees. All right, now if we multiply fractions, we're multiplying straight across, numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. Now, the 60 degrees does not have a denominator at this point, but you can go ahead and place it over 1. And now it looks like a fraction also, if that helps you to feel better. Now, how do I know if I should use 180 over pi or pi over 180? Well, let's think about this for a second. When we multiply these two fractions together, we get 60 degrees times pi radians over 1 times 180 degrees. Now, the reason I wanted my 180 degrees in the denominator is because when I perform my dimensional analysis, I see that I have degrees in both my numerator and denominator, here and here. And that means I can reduce those units, okay? So the degrees reduce, and all I'm left with is the pi radians right there. All right, so now let's reduce our, well, let's go ahead and rewrite this again. I'm going to take the long way, okay? This is 60 pi radians over 180. Oops, sorry, that was supposed to be reduced. All right, so the 60 and the 180 are both divisible by 10, so let's reduce those. And then 6 and 18 are both divisible by the number 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1, 18 divided by 6 is 3. And of course, if you would like to use a calculator to make the simplification faster, you're more than welcome to. But this is equivalent to pi thirds radians. So 60 degrees is equivalent to pi thirds radians. And you can use any degree measure that you want and convert it into a radian measure. So for example, if you wanted to also do, let's say, 45 degrees, let's use purple. If I wanted to do 45 degrees, and we'll pretend like that looks good, although that might be a little bit off there. 45 degrees over 1 times pi over 180 degrees. All right, let's do this a little faster. I have a degree measure in both my numerator and my denominator, so I'm going to reduce both of those. And then 45 over 180. Those are both divisible by 45, so I get 1, and 180 divided by 45 is 4. So that gives us pi fourths radians. So 45 degrees is equivalent to pi fourths radians. Now we've gone from degrees to radians at this point, but we can also go from radians to degrees. So let's make up a radian measure, or choose a radian measure. Let's do pi over 6. Pi over 6 radians. So this time I want to multiply by, let's go back up here. This time I want to multiply by 180 over pi, because right now I've got radians in this example and I want to reduce out my radians. So let's multiply by 180 over pi. So times 180 degrees over pi radians. And this time when we multiply, again, we're going straight across, we'll end up with pi symbols or pi radians in both the numerator and the denominator. So both of those are going to reduce out. Okay? And then 180 degrees over 6. Well, 180 and 6 are both divisible by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. 180 divided by 6 is 30. But we still have our degree symbol up there. That did not get reduced. So pi 6 radians is equal to 30 degrees. And that's how you can convert between radians and degrees to radians.